Yeah, good afternoon. We are here for the second part of the interview with Her Excellency, Madame Elisabeth von Capeller, the Ambassador of Switzerland to Nepal. Thanks again, Madam, for giving us the time. So in the first part of the interview, we've been more focused on the outgoing strategy and the future traits of the new strategy. I would like to ask you a few more questions about the new strategy. How important will be the role of vocational studies and technical vocational sector?
Thank you very much for this important question. This is a sector Switzerland is in since 40-50 years, a long history on that with different phases. We started with really these schools, technical schools, then we went over in the last year to short-term training for migrants, and nowadays we are very much involved in building up a dual system of vocation training. So the students is most of the time in the enterprise, in the private business, and goes beside 1 or 2 days a week to the school. So this is a shift towards more a practical education system, because here this is lacking, and many children have academic education but don't find jobs then, and also have not the skills then to work. And it is a very important success factor of, I would say, Switzerland and also Germany. This is
a lot of expertise also back home, I guess.
And one important thing is for us is to support the system, that Nepal has a system in place to do it after themselves, and we have not the project who does it. Of course, we have also some of them who somehow try and have piloting, which can then be upscaled to a government
But
system.
the goal is ultimately strengthening the system.
The system, which is then able to do it itself.
Sustainable. All right. And in terms of geographical areas of the new embassy, will you be focused again on central and western Nepal, or will be some change?
The Swiss Development Corporation, we said we focus now on state 1. With our intervention, having said that, we have many programs which are countrywide. Trail bridges, irrigation is still also in the western states. We have Sami, which is also in state 1, 2, 3, 4. So the majority we will then also focus on state 1, and really to support the local government, state government to run the show. And we cannot do it everywhere, so we have decided our major effort in the state building implementation of the constitution will be the state 1.
Wow, partnering with the local governments.
Yeah.
Very important. Okay, now, Ambassador, let's shift to the topic of social inclusion. I mean, social inclusion, human rights. I mean, Switzerland's been very active globally, not only in Nepal, about advocating the rights of minorities, and also including, the rights of persons with disability. How would you define the commitment of Switzerland towards a more inclusive Nepal?
When we started with this inclusion, it was not that Switzerland started. This was, the political party who brought the agenda on inclusion. And that's why we also already at the time we supported the politics party wish to have an inclusive Nepal. So this was the beginning, and also we thought it also was the root causes of a conflict, of the long conflict, was this lack of inclusion of the majority of the people. Having said that, and then that was why we supported it here very strongly. The other point is we have in Switzerland also many minorities. And it is for us a reality that we have to include all minorities. For example, in the federal department, we have to have an equal representation of French-speaking, Italian-speaking, Romance-speaking, and German-speaking, and women and men, which is not so easy, which we have understood that all this inclusion agenda, from our point of view, we know what it means. It's not such an easy job. It has always a potential also for conflict, but for Switzerland, this is
very important.
It's important. That's our, success story for a peaceful federal state.
Right.
And then comes, of course, human rights, which for Switzerland are important, and the rights also for people with handicaps to participate in the life in, of course, conditions in Ecuador.
And more recently, we read that the Federal Office for Gender Equality won an important recognition at the United Nations for the work to bridge the gap in the pay between women and men. So that's just another proof that how the entire federation is committed to gender social inclusion. And how do you think that social inclusion can contribute to a better governance? We've been talking about the role of the local governments, and social inclusion is not easy. It's very sensitive, but in the long term can make a difference. What's your take on this?
If we don't have people from certain groups at the table, how are we able to understand the needs of these groups? So how can we understand the needs of the French-speaking minority in Switzerland if they are not represented? How can we, and that was at the time here, understand what happened in the Terra in the past when we have not a person from the group here? So I think it's really, it's the only way how everybody's need can be taken into account. And this is, for me, part of the human right, but also part of good governance.
All right, great. Okay, Ambassador, now let's shift to a core topic of also our engaged work, disability rights. And congratulations, because very recently the first Swiss citizen, Professor Markus Schäfer from the University of Basel, has been elected at the UN Committee on the Rights of the Person with Disability. That is a key body to monitor the implementation of the member states of the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability. So this is very good news for Switzerland. So now, you've been at the opening of the third edition of the Turkish Alliance Engaged Empowerment League, and Switzerland has been believing on the idea of the league since day one. And since last year, Switzerland has been supporting the league that has not just games, but also awareness program and training with the students. So what do you think about such program like the league that can help create awareness on the new Disability Rights Act?
I think for me, when I was participating there, I was again amazed about the change, because I think 10 years ago this would not have been happened. So again here we saw a change, and I have also seen when I looked at how the small children interacted with the parents or the uncles, how normal it was. And I think a couple of years ago they would have been ashamed to have a father or an uncle in a wheelchair. I think that was for me something really also new. This understanding, even from the Nepali society, that this is the right of these people to have a normal life. From this point of view, it's amazing. I think it's very important to have this kind of awareness raising. And as you said, what I really also like is not only the sport events, but afterwards also the interaction of the children with these people with disabilities.
They come together with people.
Yeah, gather and sensitization and exchange, and it helps somehow also to destroy prejudices. And you know better than me that in Nepal, until not so long time ago, people with disability were seen as having done something wrong in the past. So this was not the understanding that they are part of the society. And for me, that was really great, I have to tell you. And I really thank you for organizing it.
Thank you to Switzerland for believing in Engage. And well, the league, as you said, is about games, but it's also about advocating. And the games are actually a way to connect with people to advocate on the new Disability Rights Act. What do you think about how long will it take to make the act real and And the motto of the league is like fair game Nepal, make disability rights for all. I mean, as you said, I mean, also in every country it takes time, you know, like to in Switzerland to acknowledge the minorities. It's a process. It's not only a challenge for Nepal. So how long will it take, and what can Switzerland do to support the process?
No, if you would have asked me this question 10 years ago, I would have said 20, 30 years. But nowadays, the change in the society goes quite fast, you know. You see how the girls are dressed today, you know, and how they have been dressed 10 years ago. So, huge change in the society. So I would say an understanding of the rights of people with disabilities will probably take some time, but probably faster than in the last years. I think the society is starting to be open, and especially the urban society is starting to be open, I would say. And as Nepal is really changing from a rural to an urban country, I would say it will go, I cannot give you a time frame, but it will not take so long as I would have said 10 years ago.
And then, I mean, we're getting closer to the end. Do you have any suggestion, I mean, from a different point of view about NGOs or civil society to harness the disability rights? I mean, what do you think that NGOs or citizens could do to, you know, to promote the new act?
I think first of all, a majority of people doesn't know probably. So it's about that they know it. We have said that whenever we go to the Gaupalikas and support them in planning and so on, that we will raise it up. We will raise it and say, look, that's the right, and please be aware in your planning that you take care of the special needs of people with disabilities. I think that's one entry point. We have also in our strategy said we will mainstream it. We will not have special big programs, but mainstream. For example, when we are building bridges, which we are building, looking that the bridge can be also passed by a person in a wheelchair. So this is the way we're doing, and also I think it's about awareness, it's about communication, it's about showing this kind of events, this success story, which shows that these people have a lot of talent, that they are
a big potential.
A big potential. I think I would go through that communication and then mainstreaming it in all what we do.
Like bring the right different message about that.
Yes.
All right, then last but not the least, Ambassador, I mean, you are in Nepal since a few months, you have a new strategic plan to implement. What excites you, what drives you in your daily work at the embassy?
I think it's first of all the people who drives me. The young generation in Nepal drives me. Young generation with so much potential, with so much different also interest, which have a culture, developed a culture which I really think brings this country forward. This drives me the team here also, which where we have constant reflection on the society and how to support the society and the government, of course, in its development. That is exciting. I'm very much excited by the local government representative, and I really see it is for me a very, very beautiful time to come back with new changes where we see opportunities to contribute. I mean, it's the government of Nepal, it's the citizen of Nepal, it's Nepal who has to drive the agenda, and we are here to support it.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Ambassador.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.